Welcome to Combos from the Couch by LifeStance Health, where leading mental health professionals help guide you on your journey to a healthier, more fulfilling life. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Combos from the Couch. I'm Nicolette Lianza, and joining me today is therapist T. Kluver, and she'll be helping us to understand more about dialectical behavior therapy. So welcome, T. Great to have you on.
Hi, thank you. So glad to be here.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and what led you to become a therapist who specializes in DBT.
Yeah, I went to school to earn my master's in social work and then went on to earn my licensed clinical social work. And then from there, worked in many different levels of care, along with also different levels of social work, doing like community social work and hospital settings and outpatient. What led me to specialize in DBT was at my university that I went to was really CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy heavy. And I really appreciated the concept of CBT. It's about like your mind or your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors and like your ideas and how they interact and how they bounce off each other and tag teams, next one
Right.
to go thing. And I really liked that. But I was noticing when I was working with like youth and then other women when I was at a residential site that there just wasn't, they weren't as able to get to their thoughts and understand why they do what they do and identify their feelings because their emotions were so like dysregulated.
I
And that's where DBT comes in. It focuses on regulating your emotions and when you're in like distress, like how to bring your distress level down so that you are able to do what needs to be done.
try to help people with who might be feeling really big emotions and how that might dysregulate them helps them with specific skills, as I'm sure we'll talk about later, and
Yes,
how manage
yes.
that. Definitely. So, what are some of the core principles of DBT?
Yeah, so there's four different like categories of skills. So they break them up into like mindfulness, interpersonal effectiveness, which is like relationships and how asking and like being assertive versus how to get like your needs met when they need to be met.
How to
And then
communicate
also how to
effectively.
respect others. Yeah.
Yeah.
And understand that others have needs too that need to be met too. So that middle ground and how to build relationships. And then there's also emotion regulation, and those are for the moments when you are like high distress and you need to just regulate your emotions before you can do anything else, right? That's when we're like really stuck in our emotions. And then distress tolerance is like the last category. And that is more so once we are out of that like crisis distress mode, how to be able to regulate our systems moving forward for the day or to get through the tasks that we're doing.
Got you. So basically, under those four domains, we'll call them, is where you're teaching people the specific skills under each one.
Yeah.
Got you. So, how can DBT help with specific challenges?
Yeah, DBT can definitely help with so many different challenges. It was originally created by Marsha Linehan, who created it because she herself struggled with borderline personality. And they, at the time, said that there was no cure to it and was like really providing a lot of hopelessness for people with that diagnosis. So she didn't stand for that and created DBT to help make progression with her disorder. And then it's been used wildly since then. So it's trademarked for borderline personality, but it can also, I see it used really well with eating disorders, trauma experiences, anxiety, depression, really versatile for mental health disorders in general. So it can definitely help with those like more those like black and white thinking thoughts, more of the high emotional moments. It definitely helps with interpersonal relationships and building that like positive relationship with people and teaching you how to get your needs met without having to be like in a crisis. Because several people like how to ask for help before it's like desperate. And then addiction, it works really well with, especially like co-occurring disorders too, is a really good fit for DBT.
Yes, it
Yeah.
definitely sounds like it helps with quite a few different issues, mental health, the struggles people might be navigating. So,
Mhm.
yeah. So we mentioned skills earlier. So what specific skills will a person learn in DBT?
In regards to mindfulness, I'm sure the society and nation is so well versed in like
Right.
meditation and all that. Some people say they're really good at it, some people say they're not.
Right.
But mindfulness here like definitely includes meditation and like being able to pause and stuff. And it also adds the part of being in wise mind, they call it, which is so there's a Venn diagram and there's emotion mind, logic mind, and then wise mind's in the middle. So some people live more in logic mind where like they're like analytical and like can bring like facts into a situation, and then someone live then the other folks live a lot in, like, emotion mind where, like, their emotions run the bus. So wise man honors, like, both of those
Right.
without either one of them taking over. So you, like, learn that and how to, like, have their thoughts, like, if they're one way or the other, how to add in, like, the facts with the feelings.
Right.
And then they also in regards to, like, interpersonal relationships, there's FAST and GIVE, which are acronyms. One is basically how you can, like, get your needs met and be an active, like, participant in a conversation, and the other one is how to be, like, an active listener in the conversation to also make that two-way street. And they also have another acronym called Dear Man, which
So
stands
many
for
acronyms. I think that's the biggest thing for
yes.
DBT traders.
Yes,
Yeah.
Marsha Lenahan definitely liked her acronyms. So then Dear Man allows it's like a letter. A lot of times when we teach Dear Man, we teach it in a form of a letter, and then you can either use the letter or have the conversation. But it basically allows the individual to really stop, pause, and think about their responses, what they want in the situation, and how they can best advocate for themselves to get the situation. And then it also continues on to if they don't get everything they want from the conversation, how do they respond to then, like, counteract it and be
Yeah.
like, "Okay, like, I didn't get what I wanted. You're saying, 'No, absolutely not,' but, like, how can we settle in the middle?"
What's the compromise in a way?
Yes, yes.
Gotcha.
And then emotion regulation skills, there's another acronym, STOP, which is literally, like, stop, take a step back, observe, and proceed mindfully. I have a lot of clients who really appreciate this one because of, like, the high pace of society that we live in,
Right.
and then when you add anxiety on top of that, they forget to that they can pause, like, that's allowed.
Right. Right.
So
That it's okay to
allowing
do that.
themselves to
Yeah.
pause and think of, "Wait, what's going on? Am I in emotion mind? Am I in logic mind? Like, where's wise mind?" And, like, all the things with that. And then there's also opposite to emotion, action,
Opposite
opposite to
action.
yeah. And that one is a really good skill for, like, depression, when depression's telling you, like, "Don't get out of bed, don't do this, don't take a shower, like, you're not participating in your, like, day-to-day life today." Opposite to emotion, action is doing the opposite of what your emotions are telling you to do. So if your emotions are telling you to act out or stay in bed or skip a meal for, like, people with eating disorder concerns, it's doing the opposite of that. So having that meal. So honoring the emotions, but
Right.
doing the action anyway.
And I'm also thinking of radical acceptance, which is another one
Yeah.
that I think sometimes people have a hard time doing. I think they did
Yeah.
it in premise, but one of those easier said than done things. Can you tell us a little bit more about radical
Yeah.
acceptance?
Yeah, so radical acceptance is my favorite skill, so I'm excited that you brought it up. It really allows you to take a step back from the situation that you're in and accept it for what it is. So a lot of times the like hashtag, if you will, it is what it is, will be like attached to like radical acceptance when we teach it. But it's really about knowing, understanding the situation you're in, knowing what you do and don't have control over, and then acting like making the next step accordingly to those, to what you can change and what you cannot change, knowing the difference and knowing which one to act on and which one you have to accept. Because if there's something, for example, like if I'm having a conversation with someone, I want them to respond a certain way to me, I would need to radically accept that I can't control their response. I
Right.
can just I can't control their reaction to what I'm saying. My thing that I can control in the situation is how I continue to respond to their reaction. So knowing that like what I can and cannot control and accepting, okay, like I'm not gonna be able to control them in this situation. So what do I have the power to advocate or like control in the situation?
Right. Great. No, great description of that. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, how long does DBT treatment typically last?
Yeah, this question,
It's a tricky one, I know.
because like, typically, the word typical is just the hard part of this question, because it depends on what program you're in or what that a lot of, like, residential treatment centers will teach DBT skills, including, like, PHP and IOP programs. So with that, it really is, like, on a rotating curriculum, and then as much as you, like, are able to be in
Yeah.
sessions is how much, like, you can they do also have, like, outpatient DBT institutions where you can get, like, a 6-month DBT program or a year DBT program, and you learn the skills in a skills-based group, and then there's also, like, process group so that you're able to process, like, what skills are working, what skills aren't, what you may need to, like, make glitches to help the skill be, like, a better yeah, to, like, work better for you.
Okay.
And then with those, like, institutions too, they also have DBT coaching. So you'll have an individual therapist be assigned to you so that you have individual sessions too to process, like, what skills are working and how to continue to grow in them. And then there's DBT coaching where there's a some of them have a therapist that's on call at night, and then some of them have, like, actual, like, DBT coaches, that's what they do for the program. But then you're allowed to if you're in a crisis at home or you're, like, your distress level is high, you can call into the coach and have them, like, really like, literally coach you through a skill. Because especially at the beginning when we're trying to change behaviors and adjust from using, like, maladaptive coping skills to more appropriate and more, like, more blanking on the word, more effective skills.
Yeah.
Yes, that coach is like really a great asset to them because just like teaching someone how to ride a bike, like it's really great to have someone holding onto the bike when you first start learning and then be able to let you go. And then there's also like outpatient programs or outpatient like offices that may do a DBT group. So it could be a skills based group again, where they come in like once a week to learn skills. Some outpatient settings also do like DBT process groups once a week or a combination of the both. So those can last. I've seen some last about 8 weeks. I've seen some last a little bit longer than that too, just to ensure that all the skills and everything are in place. Some have a close, like this is when it starts, this is when it ends, and then some have the continuous like open group where you can come and join us at any time.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other insights you'd like to share?
I can definitely I just want to like also share with folks who may be looking for therapy or like a way to make a difference in their life, maybe get out of some maladaptive coping skills and learn some new ones. That DBT is really good for a base, especially for those who haven't had therapy before and want to learn skills, but are like nervous to sit in an office for an hour and talk about their feelings to learn the skills with the therapist and then continue on with therapy after that to get into the nitty-gritty stuff is really a great I think it's a great way to start therapy because you have then like a direction that you're going in versus like just sitting in the office being like, I don't know what to say, like I'm nervous, this, that. So learning like the skills really sets like a base for the therapeutic process.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much, T, for helping us understand a little bit more about dialectical behavioral therapy. I think a lot of people maybe have heard about it, but really didn't know much about it. So thank you again for telling us more about it.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me.
I'd also like to thank the team behind the podcast, Jason Clayton and Juliana Whitten. Thank you for listening to Converse from the Couch. Take care, everyone.